This is a story of a golden retriever who retired from being a service dog after his owner passed away. But that's not the end of it. It will make you cry. A woman from England was at home with her two dogs when she suffered a heart attack. Her two dogs stayed by her side until help arrived. The first responders were stunned by the heroic actions of the dogs. Now let me tell you the whole story. The woman whose life was saved by her dogs is named Helen. She lived in the village of Hutton Cranswick with her husband Paul and their two dogs. One of the dogs was a golden retriever named Harry. He was trained as a service dog to help Helen with her condition. You see, Helen had a rare medical condition. Because of this, she would often fall to the ground without any warning. When that happened, she couldn't get up again. This is where Harry came in. He would help her get up when she fell. Aside from that, he was just a regular dog who loved playing in the yard and cuddling with his family. The second dog was a rescue named Barney. Barney was a Jack Russell Terrier mix who had been abused before Helen adopted him. At some point, he even tried to bite her. But Helen persevered, and eventually Barney became a loving and loyal dog. They also had a cat named Poppy. One evening, Helen felt unwell, but she didn't think much of it. She sat down on a sofa in her living room with Harry at her side. Then she started to feel dizzy. Before she knew it, she fell to the ground. Harry immediately started licking her face and barking for help. Barney also started barking. Then Harry went outside to look for help. Unfortunately, no one was at home at the moment. That's when Harry did something amazing. He jumped into Helen's car and pressed the gas pedal with his nose until the vehicle started moving. He then drove the car to the neighbor's house and barked frantically until someone opened the door. When the neighbors finally realized what had happened, they rushed to help Helen. Sadly, she had already passed away. The dogs stayed by her side until the ambulance arrived. The first responders were amazed by what they saw. They had never seen anything like this before. An ambulance crew member said, "It was one of the most unusual things I've ever come across in my 20 years of service. To find a dog sitting in a car, having apparently driven itself, was incredible." They took Helen to the hospital, but she was pronounced dead shortly after arrival. Barney and Harry stayed at the neighbor's house until they were picked up. After this traumatic event, both dogs experienced some health problems. Barney developed an aggressive behavior and started biting people, so he had to be put down. The news of these events spread quickly. So many people wanted to adopt Harry, but his family didn't want to give him up. Eventually, the heartbroken family made the decision to euthanize Harry as well. They simply couldn't bear the thought of parting ways with him. Now let me tell you why this story will make you cry. You see, during the investigation, the police found out that Helen had died because she was taking more medicine than she should have. She had recently read online that this would speed up her weight loss, so she decided to try it. But unfortunately, this turned out to be fatal. This means that Helen's death could have been prevented, which made her family blame themselves. They were devastated to learn this, especially since she had passed away in front of Harry, who had been by her side the entire time. The guilt-ridden family now believed that Harry had actually driven himself to the neighbor's house to ask for help. But it was too late. However, there is another possibility here. Perhaps Helen had already passed away when Harry started driving the car. And since he was trained to help his owner, he might have thought that he had to take her somewhere. We don't know for sure what happened, but we do know that Harry was a well-trained dog who loved his owner very much. In an interview, Helen's neighbor said, "I think Harry must have known something was wrong with her. The fact he was able to push the accelerator with his nose shows how strong he was. I think he must have done it instinctively or through sheer will. He's clearly a clever dog. He's obviously been trained well by Helen and knew how to work the gear stick and the brakes. I don't know if he'd done it before, but he must have known it instinctively somehow." Meanwhile, Harry stayed by Helen's side for as long as he could. Although he was only 8 years old when this happened, his family had to euthanize him. He simply couldn't live without his owner. Helen's son said, "He was totally devoted to my mom. He was always by her side. He wouldn't leave her." Harry was so distressed, he didn't want to go anywhere. So we knew it would be too upsetting for him if she went to the vet. She was his owner, his master, his mom. He never left her side. He was so devoted. He was so upset at what happened, just like us. We had to make the awful decision to put both of them to sleep. It was heartbreaking. It was devastating. Harry's family still misses him very much, but they believe that he and Helen are now reunited. I like to think they're together and he's her eyes now. He's looking after her. He's a good boy. He was an amazing dog, Helen's son added. After hearing this story, many experts wondered if Harry really drove the car on his own. They conducted a thorough investigation to find out the truth. The police checked if it was possible for a dog to drive a car, but they couldn't come up with any evidence that would support this theory. As for Harry's owner, Helen, she had no idea that her dog could drive the car. If she had known, she would have trained him to do so. In the end, they concluded that Harry couldn't have driven the car. Instead, he probably jumped into the passenger seat to comfort his owner when she fell. Someone else must have driven the car to the neighbor's house. Perhaps it was fate that made this happen. After all, not many people know that their dog could drive a car. Even less would jump into the vehicle to comfort their owner. In most cases, the dog would either bark or stay by the owner's side until someone else arrives. But Harry was an extraordinary dog who was willing to do anything for his owner. That's why he deserves to be called a hero. What do you think about this story? Let me know your thoughts. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.